Hello, church family. I hope that this finds you well and keeping sane through such a crazy week. I know last week we were never imagining something like this happening, but I wanted to bring you a word of encouragement and talk to you about something that God has laid on my heart since this has started. A few Sundays ago, Pastor Brian spoke to us about following in Jesus' footsteps, and he was talking out of 1 Peter 2, I believe it's verse 21, says, "For you've been called for this purpose, since Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example for you to follow in his steps." So he's talking about us as believers following in the steps of Christ. And that really got me thinking about our families and how we've all been called back to our homes right now for this time period. And I don't really understand the reasoning and why this is happening, but I do know that God always has a plan for something that he has going on. So I love the fact to, instead of being fearful about this, and I've been thinking about why could this possibly be happening. And I know that in America especially, we have struggled as families, lots of families looking very different. So I do believe there's something to this. Just as Jesus was saying, or Peter was saying, that we follow in Jesus's footsteps, I believe too that our children, whether they're babies, toddlers, grade school, teenagers, even adult children, they follow in our footsteps as parents. And so I wanted to challenge you guys and have you be thinking about the fact that if they're not seeing parents in their lives that are reflecting Christ, whether it be the fear of what's going on right now, the fear of losing your job, and also just things like not being in the Word or not praying together as a family. And look, this is all I'm preaching to myself right now and to my own family too. So this has really been me thinking for my own family, but I just wanted to share it with y'all. So some of my things that I've been thinking about is just our time in the Word. And of course the soap journals have really helped my family. I've had my kids going upstairs at night to their beds and sitting down and working on them, and also doing honey word with the kids on Sundays and Wednesdays has really been a neat thing to watch these kids go home and get in and read a devotion with their families. And I don't think the enemy likes that very much. I think the more we can be diving in the Word together inside of our homes, the better. And also another way I think is just serving together. And I know right now we can't really go out in the community and serve very well, but there's little things that we could be sitting down right now with our kids and doing, like if we're baking cookies, because I've heard a lot of people are making stuff like that, just taking a small plate to your neighbor, or just reaching out to somebody that you know lives alone. I think that there are a lot of ways that we could be modeling these behaviors for our kids to see. I think we often are telling the church, telling our children, telling people the way that we need to be doing things, but are we really doing them? And then another interesting thing I was reading the other day was about discipline. And of course I've seen some funny memes about how spanking's back in school now that everybody's homeschooling and stuff, but honestly, just this one hit me so hard because I can kind of let some stuff go around the house. I think that if we're not careful, what we are raising inside of our homes will be the adults that these kids are when they get out into society. So I do believe children love structure, and they actually need those boundaries and understanding of the safety of having structure and doing things and owning chores and different stuff around the house. So I just wanted to keep that in mind with y'all. And then the other thing I think is so important for our kids is that they know that their parents love them, support them, and listen to their hearts. I did a study by Paul Tripp years ago, had some great mentors in Mark and I's lives that helped us. And they talked about how every night before a kid goes to bed, sitting down with them and just asking them what's on their heart. And I believe this is a hard thing as a parent. We think, first of all, if our kid is silent the first night we ask them, we might not do it again. But if you just continue to ask them night after night, like, what's going on, what's on your heart, and here's the key, not talking. Just listening to them talking. We have a tendency that we want to preach at them and tell them what they should be doing, or even as they start to talk to us, we want to jump in and say, no, 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 you should have done it this way, or you needed to do that. But no, there is a wealth of feelings and information inside of our children, and if we would just get quiet, be still, and ask them a simple question and listen, you would be just amazed at what you will hear from them, and it'll allow you to understand how to parent them better and how they work and what they like and they don't like. And then another thing I wanted to remind y'all of is just thinking about like who their peers are. Who do they go to for the most of their information when they have questions? And I know we live in a very digital world, and of course we're having to do much digitally this week, but just really encouraging them to have friendships. And I almost love that this is happening because our kids are actually missing being around other people. And I think that that would be a huge point to emphasize to them through this, whether they're younger, 5th grade, 4th grade, or even teenagers, saying, hey, you always want to be on a device, you always want to be behind your video game, you always want to be on your phone. Well, guess what? Now you might appreciate a little more what contact and what being in relationships and in communication and in groups with people one-on-one looks like. So I wanted to encourage you with that too. I want to take you back to Deuteronomy, where Moses was encouraging his people of how to raise their children. He says here, I'm in Deuteronomy 6, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart. And you shall teach them diligently in your sons, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." I believe that that is a huge word for our families right now in this crisis. Just knowing that these times that we're spending with our families could be pivoting what is happening in our world and in just our Christ followers and this next generation as they look to face more trials like this, as they look to suffer for being Christ followers, and what that will look like as they're raising up a new generation to go out and preach the gospel to those who are lost. I hope that encouraged y'all. I hope that if there's anything that Chestnut Mountain Church could be doing for your family, I hope that you will reach out to us. We're trying to check in. We're trying to figure out new ways of connecting with y'all. We love y'all. We miss y'all tremendously. It's amazing how much we get to see what a part you are to us. So I hope that encouraged y'all, and we just love y'all, and we'll hopefully see you very, very soon.